26 rescued, 25 missing as search continues in Sokoto boat mishap. 7 years after Abuja-Kaduna Road project drags on, gridlock strangles businesses. Auchi residents block Dangote trucks over fatal accident. And on the foreign scene, Burkina Faso junta expels top UN envoy over war report. Good evening and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. We apologize for starting the news late. Now the news in full. Efforts to locate the remaining victims of Sunday's tragic boat mishap in Sokoto have intensified, with 26 passengers confirmed rescued and 25 still unaccounted for, according to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. The head of NEMA's Sokoto Operations Office, Aliu Shehu, disclosed that the ill-fated boat was carrying 51 passengers along with goods and motorcycles when it capsized. When our reporter visited the scene, it was filled with anxious families who gathered by the riverside waiting for news about their loved ones. Officials from the National Inland Waterways Authority were also present at the site. Muhammad Bala, the NIWA area manager, confirmed that the agency had impounded the boat involved in the incident. He urged boat and canoe operators to strictly adhere to safety guidelines to prevent future tragedies.
Yesterday, we received a distress call about boat capsized around this area. All the boat is conveying market women and farmers, conveying their goods from the various villages to the market. But unfortunately, before it reached the embankment, it's capsized and sunk. As of today, about 25 people were rescued alive. It was overloaded with over 50 passengers. And then when it capsized, 25 were rescued with 7 motorcycles, and all the palm there were submerged.
What we are doing now is to make sure we make enforcement. Enforcement of transportation court is the only solution. Don't do this. If you do it, it will be finalized. We'll take you to the nearest police station. Then we have a transportation court being gazetted by the federal government. If you do this offense A, you will be charged to court. We sent the one that requires sentence, they sentence you to 6 months, and the one that requires penalty, you pay the penalty.
And now in the FCT, Gwagwalada in Abuja has suddenly become the focus of attention after a viral video showed hundreds of people in a gold rush-style scramble. In just days, miners, many without permits, flooded the district, digging for gold and stirring anxiety amongst residents. Trust TV's Noel Samson completes the report.
When Trust TV News visited Gwagwalada 2 extension, where the gold was found, we met heavy security presence. Officers from multiple agencies had cordoned off the site, restricting access and preventing photographers of video recordings. Our team then moved to another location nearby, known as CKC Layout, where illegal mining has been ongoing for more than 5 years. At CKC, mining activity was in full swing. Evacuation, crushing, and washing until raw stones were refined into final products. Residents confirmed that the site has been operating largely unchecked for years. One miner agreed to speak with us, shedding light on what happened at the new gold site and walking us through daily routine of an illegal gold miner. There are traders who buy from us. Our work is to grind, while some people gather the raw materials, which we also buy from them. We also have others to whom we sell in town. The new site was discovered when some people were digging a sockaway and found gold. We thank God because everyone, the residents, ourselves, and the visiting workers all benefited from it. Even though the site has been suspended for now, we hope it to be reopened soon. Meanwhile, community members living around SDP Commercial Extension expressed deep worries about the risks illegal mining poses to the environment and health, urging the government to act quickly before things get out of control.
These boys around this place, they come about picking our things around this place, which is not very good. We are not safe. We are not really safe. That's the truth.
We feel bad because it brings so many hoodlums from different countries and our neighboring countries like Niger, Republic, Cameroon, and they were there, all of them. You understand? Let the government take over everywhere in Gwagwalada area. Develop Gwagwalada for us. That is our resources. Every local government has their own resources. I discovered that when I asked questions from those northerners, they told me that it is in all local government in FCT here. This gold. They said they discovered one in Kuje again.
According to the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, Nigeria loses about $9 billion every year to illegal mining and gold smuggling. Beyond lost revenue, the costs are severe: deforestation, polluted rivers, degraded farmlands, and violent conflicts as armed groups exploit mining zones. Experts say the situation in Gwagwalada reflects a wider national problem where unregulated mining fuels insecurity and deprives the government of badly needed income. For many families in Gwagwalada, the fear is not just about lost revenue. Their homes, farms, and water sources are at risk of contamination. They live with the reality that scramble for gold could leave behind poisoned land and lasting scars long after the miners are gone. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In other news, the reconstruction of the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway has dragged on for 7 years across 2 APC administrations. In April, the Tinubu government re-awarded the contract and work resumed. But while construction continues, commuters at Zuba Junction face daily gridlock. Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail completes the report.
This is the traffic nightmare at Zuba, along the Abuja-Kaduna road. Heavy trucks and private cars crawl through a single lane. The second lane remains blocked under construction. The Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway is the key link between the northwest and Nigeria's capital. But delays have crippled movement of goods and people for years. 57-year-old Adedokun Obafemi once made 2 Kaduna trips in a day. Today, congestion and bad road conditions make that impossible.
If the road is clear, it takes me 2 hours from here to Kaduna because I run 100, 120, 100. It will take me 2 hours, and I will go in the morning. I will load 5,000, I will load 50,000, buy fare of 20,000, come back, come. I will get like 80, 100,000 in a day. I go 2 times. And by 6 o'clock, I'm already in Kaduna. Now, since in the morning, I'm still here.
I am from a commercial vehicle and I have to drop from there, almost trek from Madola down to where I can get another motor down to my area. So it's something difficult. I trek more than 2 kilometers. After all, I paid my money from Suleja. Awarding the contract is not the way that they are doing it. They give it to those that can continue wasting time, cheating people. And when it takes 2 years or 3 years, then they go back to the federal government and ask them, say the money cannot do it.
Business is also taking a hit. 40-year-old orange seller Abubakar Isiaku says sales have collapsed. Many traders around the junction have already left. I used to generate more revenue in the past. Now, drivers shun this route because of the traffic. Usually, the drivers make a stop over here to buy oranges from me. The expressway is divided into 3 sections. Abuja to Kaduna is 165 kilometers. Kaduna to Zaria, 73 kilometers. And Zaria to Kano will cover 137 kilometers.
7 years and still counting. The reconstruction of the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway is still underway. The project was initially flagged off in 2018 during the tenure of late former President Muhammadu Buhari, and the government became under immense pressure over the non-completion of the contract. Now, President Bola Tinubu's administration has re-awarded the contract. It will cost Nigeria a staggering 777 billion naira.
From its launch in 2018 under Buhari to the fresh 14-month deadline under Tinubu, this project may take years to complete, going by the current trajectory beyond the expected delivery date. For now, Nigerians watch to see if this government will close the chapter on the long-delayed highway. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now in Edo State, residents of Auchi in Edo North on Monday staged a protest stopping Dangote trucks from passing through their town. They said the trucks have been responsible for persistent killings on the busy road. The protesters demanded that Dangote compensate families of those recently killed or injured in last week's accident. They also called on the company to employ only qualified, licensed drivers and stop the use of underaged or untrained drivers. A demonstration was led by popular social media activist Martins Vincent Otse, better known as Very Dark Man. Protesters allowed only company trucks, commercial vehicles and private cars to move freely, but blocked all Dangote trucks from entering or leaving Auchi.
Okay, so it's simple. We are here, a lot of students of Auchi Polytechnic, take it all around. Now, it's pretty much simple. Every other truck will pass, but Dangote truck will not pass. It's simple. They have to clear all the people in the hospital and all the families that Dangote unlicensed truck drivers have put in the hospital. They will settle them, even though money cannot really bring back people to life. But these Dangote killings in Auchi have to stop. Yes, sir. And it stopped today. Yes, sir. No more Dangote until Dangote is ready to regulate his driver, employ drivers with license, and take care of all the families that his drivers are feeding. We are not blocking the road, we are only blocking Dangote trailers, and that's it.
Now, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Flood Management and Response has emphasized the need for a national framework covering prevention, early warning, emergency response, and climate adaptation. At the inauguration of the Ad Hoc Committee in Abuja, the committee chairman described flooding in Nigeria as a recurring national emergency with devastating impact on lives, property, and livelihoods. The speaker, represented by the House leader, accused some states and local governments of mismanaging ecological funds. To cushion the impact, the federal government says it is expanding social investment programs and offering interest-free loans to farmers. With the new committee in place, lawmakers are calling for transparency, accountability, and urgency in the country's flood response efforts.
Every government at the local and state level, they know the flood is coming. They know. And sometimes they are using it to fleece the federal government because the presidency gives them money. Ecological fund, there's flood coming, 3 billion. Not one thing is done. No shelters are constructed. And where they are constructed, they are abandoned for an entire year. By the time the flood comes, they are not habitable. And I think this must stop. Enough is enough.
As we are all aware, flood has become a recurrent and devastating challenge across many parts of our country. Each year, lives are lost, properties destroyed, livelihood disrupted, and the socioeconomic fabrics of the entire communities severely affected. This is no longer a seasonal inconvenience. It is a national emergency that demands urgent, coordinated, multi-sectoral, multidisciplinary strategic action.
In Nigeria, we are also affected seriously. Just a few days ago,
I had the cause to address World Press Conference on the suspension of the activities of World Food Program, which affected almost 1,300,000 Nigerians who are receiving emergency food transfer from the World Food Program. And also it led to shutting down of about 150 clinics run by World Food Program in the Northeast, leaving us with over 300,000 children at risk of malnutrition, with over 200,000 receiving treatment for malnutrition.
Now, the Ecological Fund was set up to fight floods, erosion, and desertification. Every year, it receives billions of naira with very little to show for it. From Lagos to Adamawa, from Mokwa in Niger State to Auchi, floods keep displacing families, destroying farmlands, and cutting off communities. The question many Nigerians are asking is simple: where did all the money go? Abdullahi Ahmed explains.
The Ecological Fund was created to shield Nigerians from floods, erosion, and desertification. It takes 3% of the Federation account, billions of naira every year. Between 2012 and 2021, more than 548 billion naira was allocated to ecological projects, while states received over a trillion naira for climate interventions. Yet, each rainy season still drowns communities, washes away farms, bridges, and burying families. So far in 2025, floods have killed at least 538 people, one of the deadliest tolls in recent memory. The Mokwa disaster in Niger State stands out. Between 151 and 500 lives were lost. Over 600 were missing. A whole town swept away after torrential rains and a collapsed dam. In April, dam releases in Niger and Kwara killed 13 more people. In rivers, flash floods and landslides in May left 25 people dead. From Sokoto to Bayelsa, the pattern is the same. Houses caving in, classrooms submerged, farmers losing harvest overnight, children sleeping in schools turned into makeshift camps. The tragedy is not just about climate change. It is about theft and betrayal. The Ecological Fund has become a political cash cow. Presidents and governors have dipped into it for campaigns, SUVs, and patronage. Plateau's former governor, Joshua Dadiye, was convicted for looting 1.1 billion naira from the Ecological Fund. A former Niger State governor pulled out 800 million naira in suspicious withdrawals. Audits have exposed ghost contractors pocketing billions of naira for projects never executed. Even green projects are tainted. In August, the House of Representatives revealed that the National Agency for the Great Green Wall Initiative claimed to have spent 81.2 billion naira planting 21 million trees, a figure that is riddled with so many doubts. Meanwhile, nature's own defenses are being destroyed. With more than half of Nigeria's forests gone, rivers now burst their banks faster. Farmland lies bare, and villages are exposed. What was designed as a lifeline has become a death sentence in corrupt hands. This is why the ongoing probe of the alleged misapplication of 82 billion naira by a House of Representatives ad hoc committee matters. For decades, ecological funds have been shared among states and local government areas with little to show but scandals. Between 2020 and 2022 alone, 177.8 billion naira went to 36 states and the 774 local councils, most of it allegedly unaccounted for. Earlier, 27 states even shown another probe by the Public Complaints Commission. Now, this cannot be another ritual of damning reports, sordid revelations, and eventual sweeping under the carpet. Nigerians cannot keep starting over every rainy season while billions of naira meant to protect them are stolen. The Ecological Fund was designed to save lives. In the wrong hands, it fuels political games, while citizens continue to drown.
Now talking politics, as the dust settles on Saturday's by-elections held across 16 constituencies in 12 states of the Federation, results have shown that the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) secured the majority of the contested seats, while the NNPP, PDP and APGA shared the remainder. In Kano, however, where the NNPP controls the government, the party lost one of the two seats to the APC, raising fresh questions about voter strength and party dominance in the state, and leaving many wondering if these by-election results reflect the political balance ahead of 2027. Abdulaziz Ibrahim completes the report.
The elections were not without controversy, as reports of vote buying, violence and irregularities trailed the polls. Political scientist Professor Kamilu Fage says these irregularities, combined with voter apathy and other local factors, shaped the contest in worrying ways.
But what we have now is just a shame. Parties use incumbency, they use thugs, they use money and to intimidate the voters and to get a result that are just counted as if that is the people's wish.
APC chieftain Muntari Ishaq insists the outcome is a fair reflection of the credibility of the polls.
Election was conducted in two state constituencies, and one was won by APC, the strongest opposition party in Kano State. And even the other one, we have a contention, we have a suspicion, and we have a reservation about the outcome of the election, because the election was conducted under a very tense situation.
Kano State NNPP chairman Hashim Dungurawa expressed dissatisfaction with the outcome in Kano, arguing that the results do not represent the true wishes of the electorate.
The party rejected the election results of Anyawagari, which was declared as the INEC headquarters in Kano, while cancelling entirely the 10 polling units that the appeal court nullified the order for a fresh election. This is unacceptable and completes denying electorate the right to vote after they come out massively and casted their vote largely to the NNPP candidate.
Professor Kamilu Fage further reflects on whether these results serve as an indicator for the 2027 general elections.
The by-election actually was a do-or-die affair for the politicians. So what is likely going to happen is that we are going to see a replica of what happened in this by-election. In other words, each political party will try to use incumbency factor to retain areas that it is in control. That is one thing. Secondly, we are going to see money politics. Heavy voter buying is going to take place as it happened in this by-election.
His advice is clear. Politicians must focus on credible governance, while voters must remain vigilant in defending their mandate.
And as far as to the electorate, I think this should be an eye-opener to the electorate. One, they have to know that anybody who uses money or violence to win your vote is not going to serve you, is going to recuperate what he or she spends in the election.
As parties continue to trade words over the meaning of these results, one certainty remains. The by-elections have once again placed Nigeria's democratic process under the spotlight. Whether they signal the shape of 2027 or merely serve as a passing test, only time will tell. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
The Zamfara State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has accused the All Progressives Congress of using bandits and military personnel to intimidate voters, harass party agents and manipulate results in the Saturday, August 16th Garanamuda South State Assembly by-election. The state chairman of the ruling party in Zamfara, Jamil Jibo, made the allegation while reacting to the outcome of the poll, which the Independent National Electoral Commission declared inconclusive following cancellations in 2 registration areas. The report.
While INEC declared the exercise inconclusive, the PDP alleges that the opposition APC relied on federal might, particularly military personnel, to intimidate voters, assault party agents, and cut away election materials after chasing away its representatives at several polling units.
It had been a peaceful and democratic exercise was tragically turned into threat of intimidation, violence, and outright electoral fraud, orchestrated by All Progressive Congress (APC), with the active compliance of Nigerian military.
The party further alleged that certain bandits were deployed to threaten voters in parts of the constituency. It condemned what it described as a daylight robbery of its mandate, warning that such impunity will not be tolerated in future elections.
Rather than to provide security and ensure peaceful voting environment, heavily armed military personnel were deployed across polling units, not to protect voters, but to harass, intimidate, and brutalize the electorate.
In response, the APC, through its publicity secretary Yusuf Idris, dismissed the claims as baseless and desperate, accusing the PDP of fabricating lies to cover up its rejection by the people.
Their naive thinking, their naive narratives that APC has lost support in Zamfara State and beyond collapsed when compared with reality. The people of Kaurena South came out in mass and voted for APC while rejecting the PDP is enough proof that Governor Dauda Lawal administration is already loathing touched with the people.
The party maintained that the large turnout of voters in support of its candidate is proof that Zamfara people are ready to replicate the same outcome in the 2027 general elections.
Has spoken through their votes and will do the same thing again in future election comes 2027. And no amount of press conferences or intimidation can change the outcome of the election.
PDP remains strong, united, and resolute. Justice will prevail and democracy triumph over tyranny.
According to the APC, the ruling PDP is already losing touch with the people of the state and should focus on delivering dividends of democracy rather than resorting to falsehoods.
And now in Kaduna, the People's Democratic Party has rejected the outcome of Saturday's by-election held in the state. In a statement signed by the Kaduna State Chairman, Edward Masha, the party said it was dissatisfied with the results in the 3 constituencies where the elections were conducted. It alleged irregularities, including massive vote buying, the abduction of some members of its campaign committee for the Chikun Kajuru Federal Constituency, and the seizure of funds meant for logistics and agents' allowance. The party further warned that if such undemocratic practices continue, the problem of voter apathy will deepen ahead of the 2027 general elections. It added that the low turnout witnessed in the by-election was a testament to the growing lack of confidence in the electoral process, worsened by the failure of the ruling APC in Kaduna to conduct the 2024 local government election. Election observer group Yaga Africa has said that Nigeria must move beyond holding relatively peaceful elections to processes that inspire trust and confidence in the electoral system. Speaking on Monday, its program director, Cynthia Mbamalu, explained that the by-elections were generally peaceful, except for some constituencies where there were attempts to disrupt voting. According to her, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, had already made provisions for electronic collation in its guidelines, but the challenge was how it was applied. She further argued that decisions on overvoting and ballot cancellations create confusion. For her, the real question is not about peace, but about compliance, adding that political parties should be blamed for undermining elections. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana has challenged the All Progressives Congress (APC) and the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to urgently take legal steps to prove they are not terrorist organizations following a recent Canadian court ruling describing them as such. In a statement on Monday, Falana argued that instead of hurling insults at the Canadian court, Nigerian political parties should clear their names. The senior advocate of Nigeria linked the Canadian court's ruling to Nigeria's history of violent elections, rigging, and political impunity, which he said validates the Canadian court's decision. Falana recalled past remarks by political leaders, including former President Olusegun Obasanjo's declaration that the 2003 election was a, quote, do-or-die affair, and President Bola Tinubu's 2023 statement urging his supporters to, quote, fight for power, grab it, snatch it, and run with it. The human rights lawyer said such rhetoric, coupled with widespread electoral violence, reinforced the Canadian court's finding that Nigeria's ruling parties operate through brute force. Meanwhile, the federal government has called on the Canadian authorities to immediately retract what it described as the erroneous designation of some political parties in Nigeria as terrorist organizations. The president of the Nigerian Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has returned to the country after a brief vacation in London. Upon his return, he dismissed rumors that he was critically ill and had been hospitalized in the United Kingdom. Senator Akpabio had earlier attended the 6th World Conference on Speakers of Parliament in Geneva, held between 29th and 31st of July 2025, before proceeding to London for a short break. The Senate President arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, at about 4 a.m. on Monday, where he was received at the presidential wing by senators, aides, and supporters. Speaking with journalists on arrival, Akpabio assured Nigerians of stronger parliamentary engagement when the Senate resumes. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, says the results of 6,458 candidates who sat for the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME) are currently under investigation for alleged technology-driven malpractice. JAMB Registrar Professor Ishak Oloyede disclosed this on Monday in Abuja during the inauguration of a 23-member Special Committee on Examination Infraction. He expressed concern over the rising sophistication of exam fraud, stressing that cheating has now gone far beyond conventional methods. According to him, cases being scrutinized include biometric and identity fraud, reportedly carried out by some accredited computer-based test centers in collaboration with candidates. Chairman of the committee, Dr. Jake Ekpele, pledged that members would discharge their duties with fairness and integrity.
Recommend appropriate disciplinary actions or sanction against individuals or groups found culpable. Propose a proactive framework for the detection, deterrence, and prevention of technologically enabled examination fraud in future exercises. Consider and advise on any issue incidental or related to these issues. Submit a report not later than 3 weeks after the inauguration of the committee.
Examination malpractice is not just a breach of rules. It is a direct assault on integrity, merit, and the future of our nation's youth. The task before us is therefore a sacred one. I believe that everyone in this committee, you don't have a committee job, you have a call from God Almighty to defend the credibility of our examinations, restore public confidence, and ensure that diligence and honesty remains the true pathway to opportunity.
Operation Safe Haven, OPSH, a multi-security task force responsible for maintaining peace in Plateau as well as parts of Auchi and Kaduna State, has seized a large cache of arms and ammunition during security operations across its area of responsibility. The operation announced the recovery on Sunday at its headquarters in Jos, the Plateau State capital. Trust TV's Ado Musa completes the report.
From 2024 to date, Operation Safe Haven says it has recovered 220 arms, 1,874 rounds of ammunition, and 83 cartridges within its operational areas. According to the Commander of Operation and General Officer commanding 3 Divisions of the Nigerian Army, Major General Folisho Oyinlola, the recovery was made possible through the relentless effort of troops on the ground. The commander made the disclosure while handing over the seized weapons to the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons.
The operational successes recorded by troops of Operation Safe Haven led to the recovery of 220 small arms and light weapons from criminal elements. Out of this number are 84 Dane guns, 66 locally fabricated revolver rifles, as well as some automatic weapons, which include 27 AK-47 rifles, 8 locally fabricated AK-47 rifles, 1 locally fabricated submachine gun, 1 automatic pistol, 20 locally fabricated pistols, 4 locally fabricated cartridge pistols, 2 locally fabricated revolver pistols, 1 locally fabricated pump action, 4 double-barrel rifles, and 2 mortars.
The commander attributed the success to the diligence and commitment of personnel involved in the operations.
These weapons were recovered during operations conducted by troops of Operation Safe Haven. The federal government of Nigeria, in its determination to stop the senseless bloodletting and insecurity occasioned by the proliferation of small arms and light weapons.
Speaking on behalf of the Director General of the NCCSLAW, Abdul Adamu, a Deputy Director at the Center, commended Operation Safe Haven for its achievement in combating the proliferation of small arms and tackling criminality in the region.
Virtually all the threats we have in the country, call it terrorism, insurgency, kidnapping, banditry, and all the problems we have, they are fueled largely by the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in our society. So the more they do this, the more they reduce the problem. So I commend them. But before rounding off, I want to urge all arms-bearing agencies and law enforcement agencies in the country to emulate the wonderful work that the Operation Safe Haven is doing.
Meanwhile, Operation Safe Haven has called on members of the public to support security agencies by providing timely information and cooperating in effort to rid the society of illicit weapons, thereby promoting a safer and more peaceful environment. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
And now in Ibadan, Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja, the 44th Olubadan-elect of Ibadan land, has described his journey to the ancient throne as bumpy and filled with trials, attributing his emergence to divine favor. Oba Ladoja's path to the throne began over 3 decades ago when he was installed as Jagun Balogun of Ibadan land in 1993. The report.
Since his 1993 installation as Balogun of Ibadan land, he has steadily risen through the 36 hierarchical steps of the Ibadan traditional chieftain system. Paying tributes to the late Olubadan, Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin, he described him as a dignified ruler who upheld the customs and traditions of Ibadan land. The monarch-elect expressed gratitude to the Olubadan Council for their unanimous approval, pledging to strengthen ties with the council and uphold Ibadan's heritage. Oba Ladoja also revealed plans to consult key stakeholders, including the Oyo State Governor and traditional authorities, in preparation for his coronation. Speaking with journalists, His media aide, Adeola Oloko, expressed joy at the arrival of the Olubadan-elect, noting that all that remains is formality, as he is already regarded as a monarch pending official coronation.
There is no particular day, but one thing that I want you to realize is that in Ibadan, there is not supposed to be a vacuum. The moment the Olubadan Council members, the kingmakers, have already ratified his nomination, there is no problem. It is assumed that the rest that remain is formality.
Ibadan is going to benefit from his wealth of experience, from his network, from his connection, and from his industriousness. So it's not just going to be the Imperial Majesty. It's going to be someone that Ibadan will witness huge development during his tenure because he has the necessary contact. So we're happy that he's back. We have been expecting him, and we pray that God will give him the strength, the energy, and the goodwill to be able to lead Ibadan right and Oyo State.
Oba Ladoja appealed to Ibadan indigenes and residents for prayers, seeking wisdom and understanding to lead with fairness, peace and progress.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu has declared Wednesday, August 20th, 2025 as a work-free day for public servants in commemoration of the annual Isesa Day celebration. The announcement was contained in a circular signed by the head of service, Mr. Bode Aguru, dated Monday, August 18th, 2025, and addressed to top government functionaries across ministries, agencies, local councils, and parastatals. The statement reaffirmed the state government's commitment towards promoting indigenous culture, tradition, and preserving the state's heritage while providing necessary support for traditional institutions. A circular further directed that government offices will reopen the following day. Isesa Day is dedicated to celebrating Yoruba culture, spirituality, and indigenous traditions, and has in recent years been officially recognized in Lagos State to promote inclusivity and cultural preservation, the release noted. The Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria in northern Nigeria came alive on Sunday with its annual Students' Cultural Festival, a colorful celebration of culture, unity, and tradition that reaffirms the institution's reputation as host of Africa's largest campus carnival. The Sir Ahmadu Bello Sardauna Renaissance Festival 2025, formerly known as the ABU Cultural Carnival, organized by the Students' Representatives Council, was a grand display of Nigeria's rich cultural diversity. More than just a festival, the event served as a vibrant platform for students from all 36 states to proudly showcase their cultural heritage while fostering harmony, mutual respect, and national unity. Nigeria, with its vast diversity of ethnic groups, continues to stand out as a nation whose cultural wealth is as dynamic as it is profound. President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Japan ahead of the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD9. A Nigerian leader who departed Abuja on Friday, August 15th, was accompanied by senior government officials, including ministers and special advisors. His trip includes a stopover in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, before proceeding to Japan. According to presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga in Japan, the president will attend the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development in the city of Yokohama from August 20th to 22nd. Onanuga further stated that after the conference, President Tinubu will proceed to Brasilia, the capital of Brazil, for a 2-day state visit from Sunday, August 24th to Monday, August 25, at the invitation of President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. While in Brazil, President Tinubu will hold a bilateral meeting with his host and attend a business forum with Brazilian investors, he added. The United States Department of State has mandated every Nigerian visa applicant to provide a 5-year social media history as part of the requirements to be considered eligible to travel to the United States. In an X update on Monday, the U.S. mission in Nigeria said applicants who fail to disclose their 5-year social media history risk visa denial. According to the update, visa applicants are required to list all social media usernames or handles of every platform they have used from the last 5 years on the DS-160 visa application form. It added that applicants will certify that the information in their visa application is true and correct before they sign and submit, stating that omitting social media information could lead to visa denial and ineligibility for future visas. A chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Musa Aliyu, says punishing corrupt individuals alone is insufficient in the fight against corruption in Nigeria. The ICPC boss stated this during a one-day roundtable engagement in Maiduguri with judiciary officials from across the Northeast on strengthening ICPC's capacity for corruption prevention. He stressed the need for stakeholders to adopt holistic approaches in tackling corruption, which he said has weakened the economy, fueled insecurity, and eroded public trust. Aliyu lamented that the anti-graft campaign continues to face challenges, including fragmented legal frameworks between states and the federal government, weak information sharing mechanisms, poor coordination in joint investigations, and political interference.
We must combine approaches to recover stolen assets, restore justice to victims, strengthen our systems, and above all, work together across institutions and across regions. The Supreme Court has affirmed in AG Ondo State vs. AG of the Federation that tackling corruption requires joint effort of both federal and state governments. States are closer to people and can be mobilized and can mobilize them.
The Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes, which I am a member, is poised and determined to take the fight to the doorsteps of those involved in corruption by effective oversight, by giving legislative backing to all the requests from the ICPC and other financial crimes, and also by allotting funds in the appropriation bills of every year.
It's when you exercise your professional judgment in an independent way that you ensure the integrity of the institution you represent, the laws, the judiciary, and the legal practice.
And now in business, Nigeria's average daily crude oil production rose to 1.507 million barrels per day in July, exceeding the OPEC-approved quota by 7,000 barrels. This is the second consecutive month the country has maintained output above the quota. Production has fluctuated this year, peaking at 1.54 million barrels per day in January and dipping to 1.40 million barrels per day in March. The rise in July reflects government efforts under the Project 1 Million Barrels initiative, which aims to reactivate dormant fields, fast-track approvals, and improve upstream operations. Current production averages between 1.7 and 1.83 million barrels per day, moving Nigeria closer to its 2026 target of 2.5 million barrels per day. The Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission has announced the commencement of a review of Nigeria's revenue allocation formula among the federal, state, and local governments. The Commission Chairman, Muhammad Shehu, said the review was necessary given the current economic realities as the last adjustment was done in 1992. He explained that the new formula would be fair, just, and reflective of the responsibilities and financial needs of all tiers of government. Under the existing arrangements, the federal government government receives 52.6%, states 26.7%, and local governments 20.6%, while 1% each goes to the FCT, Ecological Fund, Natural Resources, and Stabilization Fund. Now, away from Nigeria, Burkina Faso's junta on Monday declared the top resident UN official persona non grata for a United Nations report which found that armed groups were recruiting children to fight in the country's terrorist conflict. Since seizing power in the coup, the Burkinabe junta has placed international organizations and humanitarian bodies under increasing pressure as the Sahel nation faces a widespread insurgency. Now, a court in Tanzania on Monday banned the live coverage of treason proceedings against the East African nation's main opposition leader, Tundu Lissu, who criticized the decisions. Principal Resident Magistrate Franco Kiswaga said the ban would help protect civilian prosecution witnesses, acceding a request by the state prosecutor, who said it was necessary to conceal their identities. It's now time for Sport Update with Kabir Lawal.
The Director General of the National Sports Commission, NSC, Bukola Olapade, has congratulated the Nigerian Scrabble junior team following their heroics at the Pan-African Youth Scrabble Championship in Nairobi, Kenya. The Nigerian-based team showed its dominance in African Scrabble by winning both Under-19 and Under-15 tournaments. Team Nigeria won the Under-19 and Under-15 individual and team crowns, with Sophia Okorechi winning the Under-15, while Prestige Achibong dominated the Under-19 category. The Director General said this is another testament to Nigerians' increasing dominance in sports on the continent, saying that the team deserves commendation. He added that Scrabble is a sport that has always had good impact at international competitions, adding that performance in Kenya only shows that the Nigerian Scrabble Federation is on the right path in sustaining Nigerians' dominance. Still on sport news, Nigerian discus queen Obiageri Amechi will be on the plane to Tokyo after hitting the World Championships qualifying standard with the second best mark by an African woman in history. At the Oklahoma Throw Series in Romano, recently, the 26-year-old talented thrower nailed a massive personal BP of 64.80 meters to win the women's discus throw event. With a mark, Amechi smashed her BP by almost 2 meters and surpassed the World Championships qualifier mark of 64.50 meters. She also becomes the second best African thrower in history, behind compatriot Choma Okoreche-Lyon's African record of 64.96 meters. Amechi's consistency this season has finally rewarded, having showed up at a different meet aiming to hit the Tokyo qualifying standard. That's sport news. I am Kabir Lawal.
That's a wrap on News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms for more programs, news, and documentaries. My name is Dorcas Yakubuzala. Thanks for watching.